Sandy, Captain Sandy, shall we say, thank you for taking the time to join today. I discovered you on Below Deck Mediterranean, as many have, and I'm excited because you have a new tour coming. It actually kicks off
Yes.
in the Bay Area in January in Walnut Creek. It's called the Lead Her Ship Tour, which I love the play on words. um, so we'll go over all the details of the tour in just a minute, but I want to make sure if people have not seen the show, I want to try to summarize kind of what you do, who you are, maybe a typical episode for people who might not know. So you are the captain of
Sure.
these super yachts, correct?
Yes, yes. Thank you for having me. And yes, so the show chronicles the lives of crew aboard a super yacht during a charter season in the Mediterranean for my show. And my job is to be the captain of that vessel, which I have done my entire career before I joined Bravo. For me, it's second nature. I'm a super yacht captain. I'm there to lead a crew. And if they don't, the reality is like, if you're not great at your job, the people chartering these vessels expect you to be great at your job. And sometimes I have to fire them. And most times I try not to, and I try to encourage them. But if you just don't have the experience, you just don't have the experience. So I actually, before Bravo, I worked on a vessel called Pure Bliss for, actually, I worked on a boat called Tuscan Sun, and I had a girl who was a stewardess, and she's like, I don't really want to do this anymore. And she cooked for the crew, and we all got fat. And I'm like, your food is excellent, right? So I go, your one special ingredient is love, because her mother taught her how to cook. So I said, hey, you go learn how to be a chef, and I'll hire you after you have that experience. And I did. And that's when I worked for Jim Herbert, and I brought her back on, and he loved her, and she's a super yacht chef, and her career is taken off. So yes, it's about inspiring these people while on the show. And, I like to share this. Bravo's done an amazing thing by airing this show, because they could have chose not to, because it's reached so many Americans in middle America that says there are jobs in the maritime industry.
Mm.
And that's what this tour is about: inspiring others, giving them hope, and showing them that there are alternatives to, if you're not college material, or maybe your parents spent your college tuition on a boat during
Yeah.
COVID.
Well, I know we get to learn a lot more about you and how you started and a lot of your personal life on this tour, which I can't wait to see in person. But on the show, my first question when I started watching it's so fun to watch because every episode is different depending on your clients. And then when we say super yacht, for people who have no idea what that means, is it just code for fancy, for super ritzy fancy?
That's really,
I mean,
Amy Phillips does a really good spoof on, if you're not on a super yacht, you must be a loser. It's kind of funny. You got to watch it. She does Captain Sandy, and thanks Supercuts for the haircut. She's really funny. It's like everything's super.
super. Oh, that's great.
The charter guests want to turn the day in tonight. Make it happen. We're on a super yacht. It's not a fancy word. I think where that term came from, because in the 80s, the largest vessel was 100 feet. You know what I mean? And then they started getting bigger, and we're like, that's super big. So I think, and they actually have a size. I don't know the actual size, but then it becomes a super yacht. The super yacht is like I don't know, like the what's that aircraft? It's massive, the A380 Airbus. I mean, they don't call
Okay.
it a super airplane.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny when you think about it, but I don't know. I think a yacht, we call them boats, and
Yeah.
we don't call them yachts. When you work in the industry, they're a boat. We're just the boat, But to salespeople, maybe, I don't really
Yeah.
know. That's a
Well, it
good
sounds
question.
nice. I like the word, but
Sounds really great.
the episodes, my first question when I saw you doing what you do, you are the captain, but you're also, because you have a crew to manage, you have new passengers or guests every single episode that, like you mentioned before, they have high expectations. You're creating this experience for them in places that people dream about. So the room for error is very small. So how do you deal with the pressure that comes with your job, especially doing this on camera?
Music. And that's what I
Really?
share in my music. Music inspires me. Through the darkest times of my life, I have held on to songs that have carried me through. from the moments in my cabin where I want to go out and lose my mind on someone and just like say what I really feel, I play a song that changes that. They say it's not real until you speak it, right? So you can think whatever you want, but you can't always share what's on your lungs, on your tongue. You got to have that filter in between.
Yeah.
And I use music. Music pauses me. Music inspires me. Music energizes me. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this tour is inspire, energize, and give people hope.
I have a very cheesy question. Since you are the captain of a yacht, do you listen to yacht rock? Is it true?
I do, yes. But I honestly, when I hear an artist, and this is something else I do, if I hear a song, I'm in a venue, I sound hound it, and then I pay for the song. I don't stream. I don't pay for streaming because if we didn't have music on the planet, how would we survive?
I don't know.
For me, these artists create these incredible songs. I pay for the song.
Yeah.
And I download it. So I don't really stream. I hear a song, I pay for it, I download it, I own it. And I make sure it's on my phone, not on the cloud. Because if you're ever driving anywhere, you can't hear the song.
Yeah. What would you say would be like your top 2 or 3 songs that you play when in moments where you're just stressed out or you need it?
Well, I had someone try to sue me once, and my friend sent me that song Rise by Katy Perry. And I'm like, I did rise. You know what I mean? I love Boogie Fever. If I'm feeling like, I listen to a lot of disco that brings me up. I also listen to country music. It's like across the board. Pink. This is Pink song. Oh my gosh. I Am Here.
Oh, yes.
I Am Here. So I always share this. I've already seen the bottom, so I have nothing to fear. I love that lyric in her song. So when you've already seen the bottom, what else do you have to be afraid of? If you didn't come from the bottom like I did and rise, there's no fear. And I love her lyrics. There's so many songs I like, and Thunder, Imagine Dragons. I was that in my past life, and then I changed. And so I also want to share that with people, like who I was before. I was a mess. They're going to find out exactly who Sandy was, how I changed my life, and what happened as a result of changing my behavior. This is where I ended up, and how I navigate through the egos in my business, and even on television, and the hate that comes through. Taylor Swift song, You Need to Calm Down. I play that song all the time. You know what I mean? There was a movie I saw, and he was saying that Samuel Jackson, I forgot the actor, but he's like, what you're throwing out right here is all that hate when you need to come from your heart. There's too much hate in the world. Let's have more of our heart.
Yes.
And that's really what I'm sharing about. It's like, I'm not in competition with anybody on television. In fact, that was not something I sought out. It found me. I didn't ask for the show. What I love is that I have this platform to be able to inspire others. And I will continue to show up for Bravo as long as they'll have me, because they are incredible human beings. Every person I've met at that network, awesome, just awesome.
I think it's so brave to do what you do, not only physically just being in the water, because that would terrify me. Like, I don't know how you deal with the waves and the scary weather. Are you not afraid?
Of course. Are you kidding me? I share this video. I do a lot of corporate speaking, and I share this Colin Powell interview he did on leadership. Google it. It is awesome. And, when I was taking on water, we've been in rough seas where the crew have come up on the bridge, and I go, this is the time you smile, Sandy. I told myself and say, we're going to be fine. Let's find a place to anchor. In my mind, in my whole body, I'm like scared to death, hoping the welds hold together, that our engines keep running. And I just pray and say, God, help me find a place to anchor. And once I did that, we were coming back. It was 4 a.m. from the Caribbean. I lost steering. I had to use emergency steering. We lost our stabilizer fin. The seas were massive because when boats break, they always break in rough seas.
Oh,
never break in calm seas.
Yeah.
It's always at night. It's never during the day.
Oh, that's even scarier.
Exactly. And I'll never forget, I sent a crew member down. He goes, "Hey, you want the good news or the bad news?" I go, just lay it on me. He goes, "Well, we lost our fin, but the good news is I switched us to emergency steering. We lost our steering. So now I'm on emergency steering, which is high. It's not power, it is steer. You got to really steer a car. Before we had power steering, same thing. You're moving that rudder in the water." And I prayed, I closed my eyes for a moment. I said, "Please, God, we need to find a place to anchor." In that moment, that person, that crew member put their hand on my shoulder and went, "Sandy, look." And the sun was coming up on the horizon. And there was this little spot that wasn't so rough where we anchored for 5 days until the seas laid down.
Wow. So when you go through those moments of extreme panic, is it just a mode or a zone you have to get into within yourself to find that center and chill out?
The only way I could share it is I was with a friend of mine who flies his own plane, and we were flying, first time I ever flew with him. And he looked at the clouds and he goes, "You okay?" And I go, "Yeah." So he's headed towards the clouds were going into Aspen, and he, all I heard was whoop, whoop, whoop. I sat in silence because I know as a captain, he needs to focus. Yeah. I saw him grab the wheel of the air and work out. And that's exactly what I do as a captain. I focus. Everything that I feel is set aside, and I stay focused on solving my problem. I'm 56, and I used to watch MacGyver. And on the MacGyver show, I always ask the audience, because there are some my age there, and they go, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Work the lock." As he's breaking in somewhere, or, everybody's coming and he's focused on working the lock. And that's what I think. Work the lock, work the problem, stay focused. And that's what my friend did. And he lost his autopilot and he had to fly the plane.
Wow.
And I just sat there. I didn't react. I didn't freak. Although internally I was like, okay, we're still pretty high up. He goes, "Will you ever fly with me again?" I go, "Of course."
Yeah. Well, because not only are you captaining the ship and there's the weather to deal with, but you're also, I was going to say, what do you think your secondary role would be? Because you're interacting with so many different personalities. Would you say a relationship coach or a crisis there's so many different roles you have
I share this. Yeah, we're a floating resort. So that means a restaurant, sports.
Yeah.
You're interacting with the guests. Also, the real job is navigating through weather and making sure that everyone's safe. And I always share this especially when people are judging me after they watch the show, and I have to let someone go. I'm like, "Would you want them in your lifeboat?" I mean, who would you want in your lifeboat? Every time I go to sea, I think, do I want them in my lifeboat? I'm going to have to take care of them in my lifeboat. When you need assets, not liabilities. So crew on board should be an asset, not a liability. And that's how insurance companies look at this. Yeah. And so do owners. I have passengers on board, lives are in my hands, period.
Yeah.
Full stop. It stops with me. This one goes to prison if anything happens, no one else.
Yeah.
So I think I'm a restaurant manager, a resort manager, concierge, all of it. But I love this part of my job because you meet so many incredible people, different nationalities. You learn about different cultures. You see different parts of the world on someone else's nickel.
Yeah. And in the most beautiful places. Do you have a favorite place or a place that you just could go to all the time? Or
every marina I pull into, every place we drop anchor is absolutely wow. It's awe-inspiring. Yeah. Even in some of the worst places in the world, people are like, "Oh my God." But my vision is a vision of beauty. I don't see the dirty. I see you have a choice. You can look at what's bad or you can look at what's good. I choose to look at what's good.
You see the humanity.
Mm-hmm.
That's beautiful.
You can't turn your nose down at Saint-Tropez or, Portofino or Sardinia, places like that, Porto-Cervo. They're incredible places.
Yeah. We'll get to the tour details in 1 second. And you don't have to answer this, but I am curious, without naming any names, has there ever been a guest that bothered you so much or annoyed you or frustrated you so much you just wish you could throw them overboat? You were just over them.
Yeah. Many.
What would,
There
what
are
would,
entitled people in the world. There are some people that just can't handle their alcohol.
uh,
But at the end of the day, we're there to serve, not to judge. So I
yeah.
keep that in check and just do my job.
Yeah, but very diplomatic, Sandy. I like you. You have
Yeah.
a good way to look at things. So January 28th, that is when your Lead Her Ship tour. This is a nationwide tour, by the way. So you're traveling all over the place. Is this
Mhm.
the first time you've done something like this?
At this level, yes, but I did an I Believe tour when I first started this show because I wanted people to believe in themselves. So this is just like a spin-off of that.
Oh, I love it. So this is, it's almost like this, you're a captain, you always have been, but your heart, you want to serve and you're here
Yes.
to serve and you're here to help. And I love that about you. So
Thank
when
you.
people come, the first date is January 28th in Walnut Creek. I believe it's the Hoffman Theater.
Yes.
But there's all over the place. So you have to check the website, CaptainSandyYawn.com.
That's correct.
What can people expect from the event?
Who Sandy was before, what happened, and what she's like now, and how I got to where I am, and using music through my experiences and how that inspires people. Also, those audience members should, think about what it's going to be like when they're called on stage because I'm going to bring up about 3 people from the audience. I'm going to surprise them. To have
Oh,
a conversation with Captain Sandy
oh
or
my
just a
gosh.
conversation with Sandy. Forget the captain.
Oh, yeah. So it sounds like
Yeah,
it's going to be a very personal night,
that's
fun,
right.
some unexpected surprises, maybe some dancing as well.
Yeah, maybe
Oh,
some DJing.
I love it. Well, I am so grateful for your time today and I can't wait to see you in person and I'm proud of you for everything you're doing. I can't imagine having that job, but you do it so well, so diplomatically and we're just excited to see you soon.
Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.